Okay, hold on. Hey guys, it's me, Marquita and Gary, and we are here. Hold on, let me say what I said just a minute ago. I wish I would have got it on because it literally popped in my head. Okay, Gary, read that thing
The
again.
first part is all we can start.
Yeah,
Okay. Uh, there are different views regarding the timing of the rapture in Revelation to the event of tribulation, the tribulation period, and the appearance of the Antichrist. The ministry holds to the pre-tribulation view of the rapture, the view that all believers in Christ will be taken up to heaven before the events of the tribulation period begin. 1 Thessalonians 4:13 through 18 describes the rapture, giving the order of events like this: Jesus comes from heaven, the dead in Christ rise first, and living believers are caught up to meet with the Lord in the air. We believe the event ends the church age, and believers will be with the Lord forever following the rapture. Then we believe that after the rapture, the 7-year tribulation period that is described in Daniel and Revelation will begin. Revelation 13 refers to the beast who will rule with absolute authority during the second half of the tribulation. The beast was given a mouth to utter proud words and blasphemy, and to exercise its authority for 42 years. For 42 months.
okay. And then this is what I said because I stopped them right there. What I said was, okay, think about it. And this is what I said to Gary. Okay, Trump was in office for 4 years. Okay, so that's 4 years that he caused destruction, and then Biden was in, and then he did for 4 years. He caused destruction. Okay, then Biden, the first 2 years of Biden's thing was he was cleaning up the 2 years, so that's 6 years. And then what they also said was there would be a reign and then 2 years of peace before the trials and tribulations start. Okay, if you think about it, Trump had 2 years. He destroyed. Well, I meant 4 years. Sorry, he did 4 years. Technically five if you do the year before he got elected. But I'm not going to count that. I mean, even though you can count it, but this is what I'm saying. So for 4 years, he was in office. He did damage and all that. Okay. Then 2 years of Biden, right? He was still causing trouble. And so it took 2 years, the 2 years of peace, for Biden to try to turn the environment around. Okay. Now, let me play devil's advocate. Okay, the first 2 years of Trump's presidency was Obama's his what's that word called, Gary? It was Obama's policies, but that ain't what I want to say.
Okay.
The first 2 years of Trump was Obama.
Where Obama was still taking form,
Yeah,
and then he
and
had to
then
reverse it. It took him 2 years
yeah,
to
and
get it
it took
reversed.
him to get 2 years for him to reverse Obama's presidency or his policies. So okay, so 4 years he was in office. Okay, and then 2 years was the first 2 years of Biden's presidency is was still Trump, because the first 2 years of Trump was Obama, the last 2 years of Trump was Trump, the first 2 years of Biden was Trump, the last 2 years of Biden is Biden. That's how it goes. And then the first 2 years, start in 25 and 26, will be Biden. And then Trump will start 27 and 28. That's how it goes. Okay, so what I said was he had 4 years of 4 years, right? His first 4 years, he was causing damage. It took his, like, going on his third year for it to kick in. But anyway, so 4 years of damage. Him talking about people, him doing evil things. Then we had 2 years of him doing and speaking evil. So that's 6 years. Then 2 years of peace, which, yes, it wasn't complete world peace, but it was peace in the fact that that the economy was getting back to normal. It wasn't where it needed to be. And me, a poor person, I never felt the effects of the good part of the economy because it never trickled down to me. It was at the top, slowly trickling down. Okay, like I said, the not World Stock, Wall Street was everything was coming down. The price of things, yeah, it didn't reach me yet, but I seen that it was slowly coming down. Now that Biden or Kamala, because that's who was running, now that Kamala did not get elected, Trump got elected. Okay, the first 2 years of Trump, which he said on day one, nobody listened. I'm not. This is not what this is about. I'm not fighting. What I'm saying is, he said on day one that it already was drawn up. This is what Mike Johnson said. They have it drawn up. Soon as he gets sworn in, Trump is literally going back to the White House. This is what Mike Johnson said. This is what Steve Bannon, I don't know if Piers Morgan said it. I'm not even going to put him in it, but I know Steve Bannon and I know Mike Johnson has said it. And on that mouth of theirs, that and Trump said on day one he's going to be a dictator. And, like, why wouldn't I believe him? Like, if you tell me out of that mouth of yours, nobody didn't say that he said that. I seen it with my own eyes. I heard it with my own ears. I believe me before I believe anybody. And so he said that he was going to be dictator on day one. Everybody took it as a joke. I never took it as a joke. I don't think that's funny. That's like if somebody's like, oh, I'm going to kill you. Okay, well, I'm going to take that seriously. Like, if you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to kill you on the dance floor. Well, I mean, if we're all dancing, then I might not take it that personally, but my antennas are still up. I might not take it literal. I mean, because if everybody's dancing and they're going to be like, oh, I'm going to kill you on the dance floor. One part of my brain is like, oh, well, they're going to outdance me, or they're going to try if I'm that confident. But the other thing is, I'm also going to be thinking, okay, well, are they going to bring me out here and do me like Caesar and stab me all in a circle? Like, no, thank you. I don't want to die. Like, no, thank you. But when he says that he wants to be a dictator on day one, where was the joke in that? Because literally, they asked him, okay, they said that you said you're going to be a dictator. He goes, no, only on day one. Okay, so that's like saying, are you hungry? No, yeah. No, that's two different answers. Yes, you're hungry, or no, you're not hungry. Yes, of course not. What? That's two different answers. So if you're telling me, are you going to be a dictator? No, but on day one, that's two different answers. And then everybody's laughing it off. Oh, he meant that as a joke. Well, we don't joke about stuff like that. That's not funny. No, I don't think that's funny. So if you're telling me from that mouth of yours that you're going to be a dictator on day one, I'm believing what you say. Like and he said out of that mouth of his, Don't believe what you see and what you hear. I will tell you what you hear and what you see. Everybody's like, no, he's just saying because da 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 da. Like the media says this and they're just trying to. No, he said to me, don't believe what you see and hear. And I'm like, if I don't believe anybody, I'm gonna believe me. Cause I am me. I am me. I'm with me all the time. I know if I'm going to lie to myself or tell myself the truth. You don't have to tell me if I am being truthful with me or if I am lying to me. Like, no, I am me. I know me. I know me more than anyone knows me. So, me saying all that, he said what he was going to do. They already said they had the papers drawn up. And as soon as he get in office, all all these programs that benefit people, food stamps, welfare, um, Social Security, SSI, VA, um, health care, TennCare and Medicare, or Medicare and Medicaid, um, like all these things that are helping the low income people, the child credit, free lunch for kids. They already said they already have it drawn up to cancel all them. And what he said is Elon's going to cancel all that. Elon said out that mouth of his. Oh yeah, it's going to be hard for like 3 years, but then everybody will adjust to it. Okay, well, what you're saying is, oh yeah, all the poor people are gonna struggle, and they're gonna die off, and then once they all die off, and this is me saying this. This is how I interpret what he said. Once all of the poor people, once they die off because they can't afford food, there's not going to be enough jobs for people to work. Once all of them, then the rest of the people that's going to be left is people that can afford to buy food, people that can afford to pay into the economy, buy things. But see, what they're not saying is, soon as all these poor people that have to buy milk at $10 a gallon, because if they don't buy it, then it's not being bought. Then guess what? Once all them people are dead, once all them people can't afford food, then the farmers are like, okay, well, I milk my cows. Why? Okay, side note, this is not me weaving. This is me trying to add in things. You could call it a weave. Like I said, I'm not embarrassed to say that I weave. But let me, and I know where we was. We was on the 2 years. I don't care. I just want to make sure that you know I'm not weaving and off track. I see the path. But let me go over here for a second. Okay, my thing for a second. Let me make sure I'm still recording. Yep, I'm still recording. Hopefully y'all can hear me clearly. What I'm saying is, do y'all know how the commodities happened? Do you know how? Do you know how that came? Do you know how that became a thing? Okay, this is what I know because I looked it up. Okay, and they could be lying to me. I'm repeating what I read and on the internet. Please look it up. This is how the commodities program started. Okay, I don't know what year it was. Let me not put a year on it. But it was 1 year that farmers had they like they had like a lot of milk and a lot of grain and stuff, and they couldn't sell it. I think it was during wartime. It wasn't like the Great Depression. It was like closer to my generation, 70s, 80s. Okay, so because they had such an excess amount of food and milk and all that, what they did is they contracted with the government. And what they did is they were like, we don't want that to go to waste. So they then bought the excess stuff from the farmers so that they wouldn't go bankruptcy, so that we will not be growing certain foods in the United States that other countries bought. That's what the government did. And then they were like, we have too much of this stuff. So what they did is they then took the excess of wheat, the excess of grain, they made it into cereals, into different things. They made government cheese. They started the milk commercials to say, "Do drink milk does the body good," because they had so much milk, so much grains. That's why they started that in the late 70s, in the early 80s, to say, yes, you eat milk, I mean, you drink milk with your cereal that is made out of the grains and the wheat and the rice and all that the government bought, that they were like, no other country is buying it because whatever was going on. I don't know if it was because we were a war. I don't know specifically. So I'm not wanting to say false information. I'm wanting everybody to look this up for themselves. So then that's when they work with the companies and saying, okay, we need to sell more milk. And the people that cannot afford more milk, because we got a lot of hungry people here, what we're going to do is, because we made all this milk, we have all this milk, we made all this cheese, that's when they started sending it over to the soldiers. When the soldiers is like, okay, y'all just sent us 1,000 boxes of this cheese. This cheese don't melt like regular cheese. This cheese, oh, it lasts forever. Oh, this peanut butter, whatever y'all stored it in, these containers, in these cans, oh no, this could last for years. That's why I miss the commodities. I miss them because God knows, and He knows my heart. He knows that what I say is not blasphemy. I wish that the government, if you're gonna cut off all these programs, please give us commodities. Because I remember being 2 and 3 years old, going to the Baptist Center, picking up our boxes of commodities. Yes, I'm poor. I've been poor my whole life. I've been poor before I was born. So, okay, so me saying all that, I'm speaking literally from I'm speaking from knowledge, from real. This is like a real testimony. But I remember going to the Baptist Center, not picking up the camp, not like the Baptist Center is nowadays, because that's where they used to go. They used to go to the Baptist Center or a food pantry. Nowadays, people know that. I don't know if everybody has a Baptist Center, but here in Tennessee, it's the Baptist Center. But it's literally just a building. And I think some of the churches had it too, but like I said, I'm going to say Baptist Center because that's what I remember. Going to the Baptist Center, you stand in line. They ask you how many people you got in your family. You tell them how many people you got in your family. They then point you over, or they write it on a little piece of paper. They hand you the paper. And then they point you to the table. You go over to that table. You hand them your piece of paper. And then they look and go, okay, a family of 4. And then they go back, turn around, get you a box, because the boxes are pre-made for different size families. And I'm just telling people, if you don't know how it works, because they also do this at food pantries nowadays. Paper bags, plastic bags, whatever. It's the same thing, but at that time it was cardboard boxes. And so then they turn around and then they give you a box of food. And in that box of food, this is me. Not every box had this. I'm just saying of some of the stuff that I remember. Okay. In that box was always a thing of cheese. And when I say a thing of cheese, it was a tad bit longer than the Velveeta box, but it was It was a tad bit wider, so it was like, just imagine if you got 1.5 length of Velveeta cheese and maybe 1.5 wide of Velveeta cheese. So just imagine it being that long and about that wide, and that cheese was hard because it was hard cheese, and it came in a plain cardboard box that said cheese. That's what it said on it. And you got 2 containers, probably a little bit larger than the 15-ounce cans. I'm trying to think. You gotta remember, I was a kid, so everything looked big. It might not even have been that big. This is me going back into my kid brain, trying to think. So I'm only telling you how big it looked to me. But it was a big can, and the can was brown, like it was a metal can, but on the outside, it was like they put it in a cardboard drum. But like the drum wasn't that big, but like you couldn't take the cardboard off. But on the outside of that can, it said peanut butter. It was a can, like you literally had to open it with a can opener. So when I say a can, when I say can, I do mean can. Like these things you had to open with a can opener, and it came with a plastic lid on top. Okay, and so when you do open your can of peanut butter with a can opener, then it came, of course, with a plastic lid, and once it's open, you just put the plastic lid on it. Every once in a while, you had to stir it because it was natural peanut butter. But even open, I don't know, because it never lasted that long, because I was a kid that didn't like meat. I love peanuts. I love peanut butter and jelly. I love beans. So me saying all that, okay, that was like my go-to. So no, it didn't last that much, because that long, I don't know how long it lasts. Maybe a month and a half of being open. Peanut butter nowadays don't last that long open. Anyways, let me not digress. So you had to open the peanut butter. You usually got 2 cans of that unopened peanut butter. You had to open it with a can opener. You would get like 4 cans, and all these cans were the same size, like that big. And it was like fruit, and big cans of vegetable, like mixed vegetables. A big can of pork. I remember it was pork and beef. I'm thinking only a couple of times we did get the big cans of chicken, but we never got chicken and pork at the same time. It was like if we got chicken, it was like chicken and beef, or chicken and mackerel, which is like what you can make salmon croquette salad. What's it called? The salmon croquette. How do you say it? Croquettes. The salmon patties. Salmon croquettes. How you say it?
One time salmon patties.
Yeah, anyways, okay, so the salmon, so you can get maybe salmon and pork, salmon and beef or something. But like every once in a while, us lucky ones, the ones that got there early, stood in line, sometimes you could get a can of tuna. And these can of tunas was like, they big, round, but they wasn't like that. Of course, they wasn't that tall. They wasn't like the big tall, but they were probably like with the can of tunas that they got now. Okay, if you see the canned chickens, the 12, maybe 2 of them stacked on top of each other, but it was like round, like a saucer. Like they were big and they were pretty tall, and it was like cans of tuna. So it almost was like the food that we got now, like the small cans of tuna that you see now. It was like that, only bigger. It was like Flintstone style. Like if y'all know what I'm talking about. The Flintstones, when they put the rib on the side of the car and it tips the car over because the rib bone, the rib is so big. Anyways, just imagine that. But Willy Wonka style, they shrunk Mike TV down to particles, and now he's tiny and he's on TV. I know that I'm going on a tangent. I'm just saying. If the government is going to take, and we got boxes of cereal. Now, yeah, the boxes of cereal was not in the can. You didn't have to open that. It was in a regular box. But it wasn't like Fruit Loops. It just said fruit cereal. And basically Fruit Loops, and cornflakes, corn cereal, which you open it up and it's cornflakes, but they were all in plain brown boxes, and it just said what the food was on the outside. Even the cans of meat, it would say pork, or it would say beef, chicken, stuff like that. It wouldn't say, "Oh, this is canned chicken. This is what is da da da." No, it was a can of meat, and if it's mixed vegetable, it would say vegetables. That's what it would say, or it would just say vegetables. If it's corn, it would just say corn, green beans. Like it was simple, but it was literally written on the can. It didn't have paper. Like I said, yeah, the peanut butter was in a metal can, but it also had it had cardboard around it. I guess they didn't want to write on the peanut butter can or stamp that peanut butter can peanut butter. But like I said, it was still in a metal container, because you had to open it with a can opener. My whole biggest point is me going on that big old rant and rave is, if Biden's 2 years was the 2 years of peace, we are about to go into, what would that be? Because it'll be 7 years. Basically, we're going into the 7th year. Or, no, that'd be 4. No, okay. Does it split? A question, Gary. Does the years split up, or is it supposed to be 7 years straight?
7 years of tribulation.
Because the only reason why I say that is because it's like the end of Trump's 2, the beginning of Biden's 2. Maybe Joe's years of peace might still be added in. Maybe the trials and tribulations is going to start in January. But okay, I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead.
Okay, but I was going to get to the next. It says that many churches and Christians will be deceived by the Antichrist and will reckon nothing.
And that's how I feel, because people literally, they voted against themselves. I voted for Kamala Harris. And the reason I voted for her is I voted for my kids. I said this publicly. I gave a public apology to my kids because I tried. I don't want my kids to be raised in a world where technology, they are way more advanced. I am older than the internet, basically. I am. I didn't hear about the internet. And I know companies and I know businesses. I know they had internet. But I was born in 83. I will be 41 on the 29th. Hello, Oreo. Oh, go ahead. She's getting in her bed. Hold on. What's today's date?
Yeah.
The 9th? Okay. And in 20 days, I will be 41 if I live that long. But my whole biggest thing is, when I was a kid in the 80s, I knew nothing about the internet. I knew nothing about a cell phone. I don't think I seen my first cell phone, and let me say, outside of a car, because I never seen a cell phone in a car. I only seen that on movies. But the first time I ever seen a handheld cell phone was one of my neighbors when I was like 7 or 8, maybe 8 or 9, closer to 8 or 9. Their uncle was a big drug dealer, and I have mixed feelings because I know him as both one of the nicest men that you can ever meet, but also one of the most evil men that you can ever meet. I knew him. Well, okay, when I very first seen him, I mean, the very first cell phone that I seen, I guess I was like 8 or 9. But that's not the very first time that I seen him. The very first time that I have seen him was maybe three or four. And when I did see him, he, without going too far into it, he almost killed his, I don't know if it was just girlfriend, baby mama, or whatever. Like, I still remember that, and like I literally forgot that until I literally just remembered when I was talking about that's the very first time I seen him with a cell phone. And I was like, oh yeah, he was one of the nicest guys, because I have seen him, like, when I was older, him roughing up some of his workers. But then that took me back to little Keita back when I was like 3 or 4, and when yeah, okay, so that was a memory that was locked. Anyhow, he was the first one that I ever seen with a cell phone, and he was there, and he lived where we lived, but not on our street. And his sister and nieces and nephew lived, and then eventually one of his baby mamas. And like I said, he was one of the nicest people, but he was also one of the evil people that I have ever met. But he was the first person that I ever seen with a cell phone, and he was a drug dealer. But that cell phone wasn't like the big cell phones that that they used to have, like a suitcase, but it was like a cell phone that was, it was pretty big. It was like almost the length of your arm. And he did have one in the car, but I never went up to his car because, like I said, afraid of him. But the reason I voted for Kamala is because me being raised, I never had to worry about an accidental pregnancy, as far as could it be getting rid of, either abortion wise or adoption wise. And my kids are 2 females, so they don't have that right now. If God forbid anything happens, because when I was 23, I knew a little girl. She was 10 and she was pregnant, and she chose, I mean, it was up to her mama, but she kept the baby. She had a little boy, but it was like she was 10. She was literally in the 4th grade, and she had a baby. Like, I know she wasn't the youngest in history, that 5-year-old little girl was. But my point of it was, I think if I don't know. I don't know her family. Like, I didn't know her personally. I was actually locked up with a girl that was 11 that had a baby. And I thought everybody was lying, because I'm like, why is that little girl here? And what made it so bad, the group home I was in, it was for pregnant teenagers. I wasn't pregnant. But the bad thing about it is she was there, she was 11. And she was too young to be there, because the age limit, you had to be 15 and older. She was 11. She was there because she was pregnant. And that's what's sad. And I don't want my kids to have to go to a group home because of, and hers wasn't like an unwanted, like, she wanted her baby. She got to keep her baby. Her and the father was still, they were, at that time, they were still together. Yeah, not publicly, but because he wasn't a kid. But it ain't like she got pregnant and he had nothing to do with it. It's just he did not have anything to do with her, or he legally could not, because he was an adult and she was a kid. But anytime she needed anything, he would um he would give it to her parents, and then her parents would come and see her and give it to her. But hopefully this is past the statute of limitations, because this has been over for 20 years anyways. But if not, I don't know what the guy looks like, and that's not me trying to not, you know, snitch on him. It's just I never seen him because he legally could not come and see her because she was 11 and he wasn't. Um, but I don't want my kids, willingly or unwillingly, not have the option to do what they feel is right, what they should do. Because I would never pressure my kids into doing anything that is not right for them. Yes, I don't want my kids to have a baby before they are mentally, physically, emotionally, everything, financially ready to have a child. But if it happens, I want it to be our choice. And when I say our choice, me and said child, not me government child, not me government and them. No, I want it to be between me and them, but mostly them, because it's their body, it's their future. And if they feel like that they're not ready, then they're not ready. If they feel like that they are ready, okay, we will figure it out. We will figure it out. We will raise said child in a loving home that, yes, was not planned, but it will always be welcome. But I want that to be me and my kids' decision, not the government's decision. That's all I'm saying. That's why I voted for Kamala. I also voted for Kamala because why am I going to vote for a second round of slavery, even if I wasn't black? That's not what I'm for. I'm for equality for all. And that's all. That's not some. I'm not for building a wall for Mexico, on the Mexico border, because why? What specifically did all of them do? That was like me. I wasn't for the Iraq. I wasn't for the Afghanistan war. Why? Why are we for that war? What did they do? And then find out years later, 20 years later, after we were already in war, that they weren't even the one that did it. I didn't know at 17 that they didn't do it. But in my heart, I'm like, okay, yeah, get the ones that did it, but don't punish everybody. And that's what building a wall on the Mexico border, kicking out migrants, people that are here legally, that went through the legal port of entry, people that were born here, that they were not asked to be born, or they were brought here as babies. They didn't say, okay, well, yeah, in like 30 years, when I got to get kicked out of this country after I worked, went to school, don't know anything about this land where I was born. Yeah, going to take me up to this place. That's all that I'm going to know of. Take me up there so that when I get in my 20s, teens, 30s, 40s, that I now got to get kicked out and sent to a place that I never laid eyes on. Or if I did, I was so young and I don't remember. But yeah, I was there. I was either born there or brought there. Went to school there. Like my whole year. Started school there, went to school there, worked, put money into that economy, worked, did not know anything different. And because I was either born there not by choice, or I was brought there not by choice. I now am getting punished. That's how I feel. No. Why? Give the dreamers citizenship. Give the people. I don't care that their family was not legal. They are. If they were born there or brought there, either or both. No, because you know what? See, I was gonna say no. I'm gonna say it. If I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna say it. Trump's mama wasn't legal. She married Fred, became legal. Melania was not legal. Yeah, Byron, or whatever his name is. Barron, yeah. Because when I said that, Medea popped in my head. I was like, no, that ain't right. But anyway, he was born in the United States. His mama wasn't a citizen. And see, nobody looks at that, because I don't care that she was not a citizen when he was born. Was Ivana, was she a citizen when Ivanka, Eric, and Donald was I mean, yeah, I know she was married to Trump, but according to Trump, if your grandparent or your parent is not a U.S. citizen, then you gotta leave. So he got to kick himself, and all of his kids, except Tiffany. Or, well, no, because Tiffany would have to leave too because of Trump. So, yeah. They all got to leave. They all got to get out of the country. According to him, according to his rules. I mean, what's good for the goose is always good for the gander. But I'm going to stop this, and then I'm going to restart it so that Gary can talk, and I'm going to shut up.